Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody who is joining us from various parts of the world. I welcome everybody for Whitespace Roundtable 2021, which is a brand new series of discussions which we are driving with our partners in terms of how we add value to the market, how we are changing the lives of businesses, and how we are making them future ready. So today we are kick-starting our sessions with our business management platform partner, Allion Technologies. And I'm very happy to have my friends and my colleagues from Allion on the discussion, and really excited about it. Looking forward to have a great discussion. So first of all, I just want to take a minute to give a small background, give a small, I would say, a brief as to why we do this, right? Because for the last 1.5 years, if you really think about it, we have been inundated with so many digital campaigns, online events, webinars, whatnot, right? Of course, that has been the only source of information for us because we have all been working remotely. We have all been working away from our, offices and workplaces and so on. But there is something particularly special about Whitespace Roundtable. This is not a traditional webinar. This is not a seminar, so to speak. This is also not a sales pitch. I must emphasize on that. This is a very interactive, very friendly discussion, but on most salient matters out there in the market. So, Whitespace, as an organization, we are a global technology solutions provider. In other words, we are a global value-added reseller based out of Toronto, Canada, and we have our regional business operations hub in Colombo, Sri Lanka, with our sales footprint in APAC and Africa. We have been in operation for the last 3 years, so we are a pretty young company and learning a lot from everyone around us and taking a lot of information and trying to do the best thing that will make a difference in our markets. So I also want to talk a little bit about Allion. Like I said, Allion is one of our key strategic partners in our portfolio, and they play a very critical role in our business model by being the business management platform partner. And Allion is a very mature company, and we are very confident in working with them as a partner, and we are very happy that we are in this partnership on a great journey ahead. 15 years old. Since 2006, they've been in operation, and a lot of good work they have done all around the world. Today, as we speak, they have their headquarters in Canada, Vancouver, and they have the innovation center back in Colombo with officers in India to represent the Southeast Asia market, and then Australia to represent the APAC market. So in terms of the solutions that Whitespace and Allion bring to the market, in summary, are the best of breed business management platforms. I'll be very specific. We are very proud and passionate about the world's most implemented business management platform, Odoo. Today, our discussion is specifically based on the value addition that Odoo has been making in the market out there, and also how Odoo can be instrumental and a pillar in changing the life of business. So before we get started, I want to welcome my friend from Allion, Asri Alexander, the co-founder and director of Allion Technologies. Hello, Asri. Thank you very much for joining us. I know it's quite early, 6:30 in the morning. I appreciate your taking the time. How are you doing?
Very well. Thanks a lot, Irish. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me, and also I would like to extend my thanks to the audience as well. As you said, it could be anywhere from around the world. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good evenings to everyone. That said, thanks a lot for inviting myself and Randik as well from our team. So I'm sure this is going to be a great discussion that we have ahead. So let's maybe we can get right into it so that we can hear from the audience as well.
Great. So let's maybe we can. All right, then I also have Randika Aryasena connecting from Colombo, and Randika is the technical director for Allion, specifically taking care of the technicalities and the details of our platform Odoo. Hi, Randika. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Viresh. Hello, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure to be present here today, and thank you for having me for this significant, amazing discussion.
Great. All right. So let's get started, guys. I just want to set some tone to the discussion by saying that working outside from our offices or workplaces has become the norm, right? And the moment you say that you are working outside your traditional or the conventional workplace, it becomes that the fact is that you have already become a mobile or maybe a remote worker, right? So we have given a very I would say a salient topic to the discussion as well. We are talking about Uberizing your business, right? Because specifically due to the fact that people are being Uberized, businesses are being Uberized, the world is being Uberized because of the current circumstances. And clearly, trust me when I say this kind of a situation is here to stay. Obviously, we sincerely hope that everyone out there is safe and sound. However, from a business perspective, working remotely and engaging from various parts of the world to do your job is here to stay, right? And the economy that we are dealing with is not the standard or the traditional economy that we all used to know. This we would call the COVID economy, right? So having said that, I just want to start off by the most basic factor about the COVID economy, which is working remotely or operating your business remotely. So when we work as remote workers or when we operate the business remotely, one thing is that it becomes a concern to any leader of an organization. It becomes a very sensitive matter because you got to take care of your business, you got to take care of the employees, and you also got to make sure that your customers are being served, and you got to make sure that your suppliers don't leave you, right? Because you got to be out there. It doesn't matter what is happening in the world. Clearly, we need to sort of stick with the challenges or limitations. However, the business should go on. So from my end, my perspective is that we got to find ways and means of overcoming our challenges and focus on the business continuity. And knowing that it's going to be the new normal in the future, knowing that we have to be adjusted to that situation, we need to be ready and we need to be proactive in terms of making our decision. So Asiri, I just want to understand from you. What does it mean to you when we say remote working or operating your business remotely? What does it mean to you?
Well, that's a great question, Rish. Thank you very much for the question itself. Well, it's over the last 1.5 years or so, we are in a new norm, in my opinion. And there are pros and cons for working from home or working from the office space. But in my opinion, I strongly believe that the future is somewhat a hybrid model, where some employees may choose to work from home and some employees may choose to work from the office. And again, it also depends on the industry itself. So for instance, manufacturing it would be a hard sell for people to work from home and get the things done. Whereas an industry like ours, service industries, is much more easier to adapt to a new norm of working from home. And in fact, most of our team is working from home. And the most important thing, in my opinion, is that if you have the infrastructure that gives you this balance. And I think as we move forward with life, as we open the marketplace, people will continue to work from home. And as long as we have a strong, good ERP system, a system that integrates with with both models, where people can log in and work as if you're in front of another person. So the most important thing for us ourselves is that, from our perspective, is that the system needs to be scalable, adaptable, and affordable to people, those who want to come on board and on this digital transformation and continue with the digital transformation. And most importantly, this model needs to be secured. So robust ERP system, or a system that where people can work and adapt to both spectrum, that is working from home and working from the office, is most important thing, in my opinion. And Randika, if you have anything that you can add, please, from a technical perspective, go for it.
Great. I think Asri, you touched a good point there. You said if you want to work remotely and if you want to be successful in it, you got to have the right infrastructure in place, right?
Correct.
So I think that's the key word there, and I like the fact that you covered that area, and also you believe in the truth that you got to have the right infrastructure. You got to invest in the right infrastructure to be able to be successful in the business in future. So Randika, now from an infrastructure perspective, right? When you are in a remote environment, right? When you are in a Uberized environment, so to speak, it's absolutely important in my mind to have a all-in-one platform, right? Because obviously, when you run a business, you got to connect to multiple applications, multiple infrastructure setup, and you got to be able to work seamlessly, right? And that is point number one. Point number two is that your users should be able to connect to those applications seamlessly, as well as the experience should be a good one, right? User experience should be a good one. Now, we all know, right, Odoo represents, or rather they endorse the whole all-in-one platform concept, which is also why Odoo is a great platform, right, for the businesses to consider, because you have the entire platform in one palette. However, you can pick and choose the application that you might want to do. So if you can talk a little bit about this all-in-one platform concept of Odoo, how does Odoo add value to a remote working environment? What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Resh. So let me begin the conversation this way, right? So remote working, or the concept of working from home, came into place even before the pandemic occurred. But it was effectively put into use with the continuous impact of the virus in this world. Small and the medium scale businesses struggling immensely with the continued challenges face the most impact of this. Let me brief you out of some challenges and the options given by Odoo. There are so many challenges and the options, but I will point out three major components here, right? Real-time communication is one of the significant challenges that came into place during this time. To address this issue, Odoo platform provides us the Odoo Discuss app, which allows seamless communication between individual team members, departments, or the entire company. The other one, maintain the communication is a key component when it's come to customer satisfaction, right? Therefore, to address this, Odoo provides us with Odoo Live Chat module. Odoo Live Chat integration with your Odoo website to allow your team to chat your customers in real time and answer questions, scheduling appointments, and sell your products or services. The last point, let's also talk about the project management. Working remotely requires a top-notch project management tool. Because your employees must likely have several ongoing projects to complete. With several ongoing projects, we will need a clear form of communication to keep the detail organized for your employees. Odoo Project Management is a right tool for this. It allows you to plan, track, and collaborate on projects in visually simple manner. We can monitor tasks, discussions, documents, scheduling, milestones, collaboration, and more in a user-friendly dashboard. So as it now clearly for all of you, business users can access the system seamlessly from anywhere. Odoo also has the capability to integrate with Zoom and other applications that will support remote working environments. So these modules work together to provide an integrated platform which provide us with the opportunity to continue our usual activities without any hassle. So that's my opinion, Irish. It's up to you.
All right, great. Okay, so that's you touched base on the communication aspect of it, and also that is I think is absolutely key, because I would call it more like the collaboration part of things, because collaboration it covers the communication aspect as well. There are so many communication tools, there are so many applications that we can use. I guess the most beautiful thing about a platform like Odoo is that you have your inbuilt modules, you have your inbuilt applications which you can use on the fly. Also, you can seamlessly integrate with third-party applications as well. And that integration is not painful. That is the best part of Odoo being an open source platform, a rich, user-friendly platform.
Yes,
okay. So when we talk about embracing a technology platform to run your business remotely, something that comes to our mind is that how do you manage your supply chain network, right? When I say supply chain network, I'm thinking about my customers, my partners, and my suppliers, and all those stakeholders that matter to my business. Now all of a sudden I'm in a position where I don't get to interact with them as much as I used to do in the past. However, I got to keep my relationships going, I got to keep my business running, I also got to keep my engagements going with all my supply chain partners. Now when you want to digitally transform your business, right, by investing in the right technology platforms, one key thing is to make sure that your supply chain is in order. So Asini, I just want to ask you, when at a leadership level in the boardroom, when you have to make a decision that you got to digitally transform your supply chain aspect of it, how urgent or how important is it for a CEO or a decision maker of an organization under the current circumstances? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a very loaded question. Thank you again for the question. Great thinking behind it. From our perspective, traditionally, when we had to invest, we had ample amount of time to invest. We would go through multiple different channels, look at what tools that are available, many meetings, and it takes longer time. But as we all know, blink of an eye, we had to change our ways of doing things a year and a half ago. Pandemic was there and everything has to be changed. So the transformation into digital transformation had to happen much faster, much quicker. And people, those who have already thought about digital transformation, adaptation was much easier. So you touch a really good aspect. So in our opinion, it is most important thing was when you do the digital transformation is a system that connects your customers, your employees, especially when they are working from home, and it needs to be affordable for the company. And that was one of the key things, because it has to happen so fast, so quick. Most importantly, the system that you're going to implement at that time needed to be an adaptable system. People need to adapt to the system. You can come up with a system that if people do not resonate, or the system that does not resonate with the people, that wouldn't have been a success story for the companies. So unlike the traditional ways of doing thinking, we had to make these decisions pretty fast, pretty quick. And our constraint, most of the small to medium-sized companies had, in my opinion, would have been the capital to this. How can you invest? How can you get the funds? Every place was shutting off. So we have seen a transformation from spending money buying assets into going into more of a user-based systems. So that is, it had less strain on their capital outflow, capex. And we see that there's a huge shift from capex to opex right now. So a subscription-based systems, even when you buy assets, you tend to buy lease assets more so than buy, for instance, computers. So that's where the transformation has happened. So that also had given companies the financial freedom to invest in areas such as security and such as people's well-being, welfare, and so on and so forth. And just with the new norm that we are faced, especially having a system where people can be anywhere around the world, that also has contributed to the carbon footprint. So what, in our opinion, people don't drive anymore, as it's actually minimized. So this is a transformation we are seeing, and I see it's a great transformation. So I hope I answered the question. I mean, I can elaborate it on much more. Like, for instance, if you look at SCM, one of the things that happened over the last year and a half was that, especially in manufacturing, prior to this, in 1980s and onwards, JIT was embraced by everyone, just-in-time supply chain management or the inventory management system. But that got a huge shock. So today, companies have to think what key components of your system or inventory or the stocks that you need to be in stock, and what components you can still continue with JIT. So the people have started thinking about not just one element everywhere. The people, all CEOs, from inventory management to connecting with your suppliers, connecting with your customers, connecting with your employees, management, and everyone else.
Great points. Great points. I like the points you touched base. I mean, the fact that you are a CFO yourself and you are wearing those hats and the shoes on a daily basis. Those are the great facts. So, in fact, I like what you mentioned about getting used to the subscription or the consumption economy, right? And also, even if you have to buy assets, right, to be able to buy them on a subscription basis, or maybe on a lease or something like that. And also the other point that you covered was a good one, and that was about adoption. It doesn't matter how much you spend or whatever the technology platforms that you have, if you don't get your staff or maybe the people to use your system. So adoption has been a huge problem. I know this personally. Adoption has been a huge problem. Organizations spend millions and millions of dollars in getting the best of class, best of breed technology solutions to their companies, but then people don't actually use it at the end of the day. So year on year, right, their cost goes up, and they keep paying the suppliers or the principals, but then the actual ROI, if you think about it internally, is very much low if you take the time to analyze it. Now, one thing that one of my previous bosses, when I was working, one of my previous bosses had a very interesting concept to this whole subscription economy. So he told me one day when we were discussing about a customer solution, he said, complete capex is out of the question. People don't want to spend so much money. You don't want to, you don't, like you correctly said, Darsity, you don't really have the funds to, go and buy all kinds of technology systems right now. And also, complete OPEX is also not going to be the best option for you at in certain single situations, right? Because if you look at a ROI analysis in the long run, or maybe in the medium run, over a period of 5 years or so, in some cases, not in every situation, but in some cases, an OPEX investment could be expensive. So, what you can actually consider is a hybrid sort of an approach where you will have an OPEX and a CAPEX combined together. So that's something we can look at. We can encourage our clients and partners to consider. That way, you will obviously end up managing your cash flow more effectively in the short to medium run. And also, one thing you will achieve out of that is that you will prioritize your finances and you will also prioritize your technology assets. So that is about sort of maintaining a healthier cash flow in terms of managing your technology infrastructure. Now, when it comes to infrastructure management, Sandhika, one challenge, right? One challenge we have is that yes, we have all-in-one platforms, everything is out there available, but businesses don't want to invest into everything at the same time, right? Because obviously we all have our priorities. Segments or business sectors or business segments or organizations individually, they have their priorities different from each other. Now that's where the leadership needs to decide what do you need immediately, or what do you need in 3 months or 6 months, or what do you need in the long run, right? One fundamental strategy in deploying Odoo effectively and successfully is to follow the one app at a time strategy. I mean, if you ask me, I love that because Odoo gives the freedom to the customer or to the partner to decide which app do you want. I mean, you got to prioritize your business requirements. You got to understand your challenges very clearly, and then decide which module or which application you want to have. So, Randhika, can you talk a little bit about how Odoo implements one app at a time strategy in a given business scenario? What are the kind of the factors that you will consider when you do that?
Sure, yes, thank you. So I will start off this way, right? So in general, Odoo satisfies most functional requirements in the business. Let me give you an example. So the Odoo CRM, post module, sales apps can be used to boost your sales drastically. To integrate your business services, you can use project, timesheets, and help desk modules, right? Inventory, MRP, purchase modules can be used to streamline your operational tasks. As I'm aware, many companies spend huge sums to build their websites. So as a solution to this, Odoo has a website builder along with an e-commerce module. Financial management is also a critical aspect when it's come to a business. The accounting and invoicing modules are able to manage these areas smoothly. To amplify your digital marketing, we can use email marketing and marketing automation apps. And also when it's come to the default extra integration capabilities in Odoo, Odoo has DHL, UPS, FedEx shipping integrations, eBay and Amazon, e-shopping connectors, VoIP connector that you can easily connect your telephone lines with Odoo through a zip trunk. I believe it is now clear that the apps that I have mentioned clearly provide the opportunity for your business growth. Also, let me mention that master data can be managed efficiently in one location using Odoo. All Odoo modules are then able to access this data just by a plug and play. Uresh, this is not a small application. You can start from anywhere that you want, just from a one click. That's it, Uresh.
Great. Yeah, obviously, 7 million users around the world, and close to about thousand plus applications. You can pick what you want. So that's where the challenge also might come up for certain businesses, because they've got to prioritize their business challenges and understand what you want to have immediately and what you want to have in the future. So good point. I like the fact that you covered the back-end applications like the project management and finance management, operations management, and also the front-end critical applications like e-commerce, website, and marketing, and so on. So before we move forward, I also want to invite the audience to ask questions if there are any, and we are willing to take as many questions as possible. We have about another 20 minutes to 25 minutes for the session. We've covered only two areas of the discussion, so I invite all of our viewers and listeners to ask questions, clarify your doubts. We will try as much as possible to cover your questions. Okay, so getting back. Okay, so we have a question. How flexible Odoo in terms of scale up, scale down as and when needed? Randika, would you like to talk a little bit about it?
Iresh, we have also, we can discuss in later, right? We have a point for that. I will ask, if you want, I can answer for that as well now.
In fact, that's our next point as well. So yeah, so you can probably start by sort of talking a little bit about the scalability of the platform. Since we also have a question, let's start there.
Sure.
How can a business start to scale it up or scale it down based on the priorities like we discussed? What are your recommendations?
Sure, Iresh. So I will explain with a real life experience of mine, right? So when it's come to Odoo, there are three main options when it comes to scaling on Odoo, right? One is user-wise scaling, the other one is module-wise scaling, the other one is infrastructure-wise. So let me share with you a recent implementation that we have done, which will give a better insight of scaling. Recently, we had the opportunity to do an implementation for a tea factory in Sri Lanka. After implementing this successfully, we received the opportunity of scaling this up to the group of businesses of that specific client, which included hotels, petroleum, and heavy vehicle rent-out businesses, right? Using the Odoo multi-company feature, the domain-specific apps, by configuring user-wise permissions and restricting company-wise visibility, we were able to manage all these capabilities in one single platform. This is just one example, Iresh. How capable we are with Odoo to scale up and streamline activities as required. So similarly, we were able to integrate such features in any of other Odoo modules as well. Let me also mention that Odoo has their own tier 3 cloud platform, which includes GitHub integrations, SSH, automated and manual testing, high availability, incremental backups, instance recovery, and inbuilt mail server series. I think I have answered for your question.
Yeah. All right. Great. So simply just to break it down for our listeners, basically we are talking about a highly scalable platform, right? You can start small, right? That's what we mean by one app at a time, and you can keep growing, right? And you also, the other key point to your answer is, Randika, in my opinion, is that the fact that Odoo has all the critical applications on one platform, right?
Yes,
So that's why we say that it's a all-in-one platform, but then you can start one step at a time, one app at a time. Now, the other key thing that we can actually look at when you talk about scalability, right? When you talk about using a platform for the first time, right, in your business, or maybe making the right decision to invest in the right technology platform, there are certain things that any business would expect, right, from a business management platform, right? Say, for example, if I was to make an investment in a business management platform, definitely, like you said, scalability is going to be a key factor for me, because I got to be able to understand how I want to prioritize my upgrades, or maybe my enhancements of the platform. I don't want to sort of have a massive dinosaur in my organization and not use it, because then adoption becomes a costly affair for me. And I also want to be able to know that the platform that I have is extremely secure, because the reason why I have the platform is to drive my business securely. So security is one concern, scalability is the other, and also I want my users to have a good experience with the platform. So user experience becomes another key thing. So like that, there are certain things that any business would want to see in a integrated business management platform. So actually, I just want to find out from you, if you look at a business, right? If you look at a key decision maker like yourself, it could be the CFO, it could be the CEO, or it could be a chief marketing officer, CMO. What are the kind of the few things, or maybe the key things that you would like to see in a business management platform on a day-to-day basis, from a very high-level perspective?
Thanks, Irish, for the question. Again, it's a very thoughted question. I'm going to take a step back. When I answer this question, as we all know, COVID has become our new norm. And people, the businesses, some of the businesses have become very vulnerable in this environment. One of the industries that comes under my mind is the construction industry. Traditionally, people would go to hardware store and buy their stuff and go home. And there's quite a lot of interaction with people. And most of the time, the construction industry, the websites were used as brochures. All of a sudden, they had to change their way of thinking. Digital transformation happened overnight pretty much for them. The website had to be transformed into an e-commerce site. So scalability was very, very important in a situation like that. So companies that had not thought about digital transformation, they had a hard time, especially in two ways: understanding the new norm, getting to know the right platform that you touch, the scalability, accessibility, adaptability, and security. And also, as we previously alluded to or touched on, the affordability, which was one of the most important thing. So in my opinion, the most important thing when you look for a right platform to integrate into or implement into this new norm, especially when you're thinking of digital transformation, is that a platform that is scalable, affordable, adaptable, and security-wise very secured, so that people can connect to this platform from anywhere around the world and do their business. As you lured in your previous question, there will be a seamless transformation and seamless operation of your supply chain management. So that is I would be looking for. I hope I answered your question.
Great. This is exactly why I love talking to business decision makers. I mean, nothing against technical decision makers for sure, right? When you talk to the business users, especially the people who sit in the boardroom, right? They actually tell you what their real pain is, right? Sure, the lower level business user, the day-to-day business user, gives you the reality on the ground. Obviously, you need to understand that. But when you talk to somebody from the boardroom, you get to understand, the macro picture, the 30,000 feet picture, affordability and security and scalability and adoption. Those are the things that any business should be looking for, right? You got to be able to afford it. it has to be affordable to a level where you can actually keep using it, not to buy it today and then maybe dump it on another day, and your users to have a good experience with it. That's when you will adopt it well. That's when you will earn the real ROI of the platform. It has to be secure because you have people connecting um, from multiple places to do your business, and it has to grow with the business. It cannot eat into the business or put you out of business, so to speak, because we have seen situations like that in the market, right? So it has to grow with the business. So great thoughts, Asif. Thank you. Now, um, when I look at those business management platforms as a supplier or a reseller of technology platforms, I also think at times, what is our next step, or what is the extension of what we have today? Clearly, like you said, RCD, digital transformation happened in a split second, right? For the longest time, I would say that for the last 5 to 10 years, digital transformation has been a buzzword, right? People have been spending money, businesses have been, investing into technology, but they haven't really been using it. So it has been a buzzword. Everybody uses it. Everybody knows what it is. But then with with the pandemic, with the COVID economy, right? It became a reality, right? COVID became the world, made the world very small, right? The world has become even more smaller, and it has also made your business vulnerable out there in the market. Now, when you look at it, so that is the current situation, that is the current context. Now, if you look at the next 5 years, right, which we definitely have to perceive, right, I also think, okay, what are the next steps for today's technology platforms? One thing that comes to my mind is artificial intelligence, right? A lot of technology principals or the companies are now investing into AI, where all their technology offerings or technology solutions are AI enabled. However, today AI, I believe, in my personal experience, is another buzzword for us. Right? We like to use it, we know what it is, but then we don't use it. And then you have all those IoT based solutions, right? And then you have machine learning, all the intelligence based services. So, Arthi, what are your thoughts on having an AI environment in your technology infrastructure? I mean, again, give me the business or the real use based experience.
Well, great questions, Irish. Thanks again. Well, in my opinion, I would, if I'm to call AI, I would call it is the fourth industrial revolution. If you're not engaged in currently, if you're not, or if your infrastructure is not engaged, or if you haven't thought about machine learning or AI systems, or you will lose in the future. That's where the short and quick answer is that's what it is. As AI has a long, in my opinion, has a long way to go. AI it become a tool, better used tool, as and when we collect more and more data, and it can be used to as a savior to the human creative decisions that we have made over the years to correct them. Now, again, going back to your previous question of supply chain management, if I take AI now, take inventory for instance, you can use AI as a tool to understand which inventory is better used for what you call that to have an inventory system control thing in for it. Sorry about that. Sorry about that to everyone else in the audience as well. My alarm is going off. It's as I said, this early morning. So that's it. So again, going back, it is critical to you can use AI as a tool to understand which inventory systems or which inventory you should have in your stock, or which inventory you can continue to embrace on JIT system. So as we go along into the future, as we start using Google Play and Alexa and get into 5G technology, AI become more and more a better tool and would be used more than today. So the short and brief answer from my perspective is that if your system is not AI, if you haven't thought about AI today, you need to think about AI. And at least it's as I said, there's a long way for it to go. And in my opinion, it could be somewhat a balance between AI or the artificial intelligence and human intelligence. So augmented intelligence is something that I would use as a word. So that's where we are going in short term, with next 5 to 10 years, and before we transform totally into AI driven economies.
Great. All right. Yeah. So, like you said, that AI has a long way to go, and we have a long way to go with AI, because the technology, in my opinion, technology becomes complete, or it becomes more relevant or more salient when it's more intelligent, right? One good way, or one effective way to make it more intelligent is to embrace technologies like AI, machine learning, and IoT, right? Clearly, like digital transformation, this is also a buzzword in certain parts of the world, but I know in the developed parts of the world, in the West, AI is coming out, and people are using, businesses are investing into it. A lot of R&D investments are going into it, and a lot of products are now coming out with AI-enabled capabilities. Now it is becoming a norm, right? But adoption of AI is clearly a different matter to discuss. So when it comes to Odoo, from a business management perspective, when we have to sort of look at Odoo as an intelligent platform, or maybe a futuristic platform, to be able to for a business to be able to be ready for the future, right, with a lot of intelligence at the back, right? Randika, how does Odoo work with AI and IoT services?
So good question, Irish. So Odoo is already compatible with IoT integrations, right? So for this, we use the IoT box along with the Odoo IoT module. This has an easy setup where you simply have to connect to the IoT box and the devices you need to your database in no time, right? With no technical expertise required. With the IoT box, devices are fully integrated with existing business processes. Here, devices can be connected through Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, USB, or HDMI, right? We are also able to integrate IoT box with the general Odoo modules as well. As an example, to streamline your manufacturing process and increase your productivity with a food switch, the MRP module can be used along with the IoT box without any human interaction. Let's also talk about the capabilities with Odoo in AI, right? AI has been recently introduced in the version 14 of Odoo. They initiated this by providing AI-powered invoice automation, which can automatically create draft bills, vendor bills, right? Through a PDF upload, and then an authorized person can simply validate it by a single click. I'm sure Odoo's AI-powered bill processing will be help you become a paperless company in future. In addition, Odoo AI is compatible with image and metadata recognition, along with optical character recognition, OCR engine. I think I have answered your question, Yuresh.
Okay, great. Before we move forward, I just want to see whether there are any questions from the audience, and feel free to ask whatever you might want to clarify. We have 10 more minutes to go, and we have one more area to cover, and then I guess we can wrap up if there are not any questions. So while we wait, I'll just go back to our basics of business management of a business management platform. Now, Hasidi, what are your thoughts on the on our traditional, way of running a business through through an ERP? What do you think the future is for an ERP, right? Overall, where do you think it's headed?
That's again a great question, Irish. Thank you. Well, from a business perspective, traditionally, as I said earlier in one of the questions that you have put forth, we had ample amount of time to decide which ERP to put your money in. Traditionally, we have used capex when we make all these decisions. Today, our new reality is quite different. New reality is that our stakeholders could be anywhere around the world. Customers could be anywhere around the world. World has become very small from that context as we adapt to new reality of hosted solutions, and we become our market have become the whole world, not just local backyard of your business. So, in my opinion, I would think that ERP would have a huge footprint in how we do work. Now, which kind of ERP is the most important thing? As I said earlier, traditionally, people used to spend money out of capex, and they tend to spend money on name brand, whereas they totally miss out on what is really needed for their custom base or the stakeholders. What is the most suited ERP solution for their business? So my opinion is that it is ERP solution, right ERP solution is fundamental for any business to survive. That, as Ramdika said earlier, some ERP solution that integrates with multiple application, multiple modules that is capable of scaling up and down, and integrating multiple businesses, and coupled with AI is a fundamental to a new way of looking at new as we move away from COVID and to a new world. That's my opinion.
Great, yeah. So, I mean, looking at the future, and when you really think about the next steps for an ERP, or in a broader perspective for a business management platform, I would think that blockchain is going to be a key component, right? And obviously, we spoke a lot about AI and IoT integrations. Those are I would say key, and we all know that digital currencies, cryptocurrencies is a new buzz around the world now, right? The European Union has already regulated certain aspects of digital currencies, and a lot of countries are now paying attention to it. Certain countries in Asia as well, right? And how will business critical platforms like ERPs or CRMs, for that matter, or maybe a collection of such applications are going to support these kind of decisions, or these kind of initiatives, is something that we have to look at. And when we actually go and position a business management platform in the market, or when we want customers to pay attention to a future-ready, right, more mobile or Uberized platform, I would think that we have to be able to sort of talk about the roadmaps that the platform is looking at. So, Randhika, talking about the roadmaps, talking about the new features of a ERP platform or business management platform like Odoo. What are your thoughts on the future of Odoo? What are the kind of the new developments or the new features that we can expect?
Yes, Rish, thank you very much for the question. So each and every day, technology is being revised, and along with this, lesser time is spread to find solution to the problems, right? As per my past experience with Odoo, it caters to all these needs and is improvised further. Each year, new version bring up new features, and at the same time, they develop the existing ones, right? In my opinion, this improves the levels of satisfaction and minimize the human interaction by introducing technologies such as IoT that I have explained previously, AI and machine learning, right? And at that same time, I'm also happy to bring forth the fact that the capabilities of Odoo Marketplace is being improved by its partners worldwide, like us. Currently, there are about 16,000 plus industry-specific apps in the marketplace, which can be simply integrated with Odoo platform. I'm sure that you are now aware of how well Odoo caters to the industry expectations. I thereby recommend that and invite you to join the Odoo community along with Allion and Whitespace.
Great. That's good. So yeah, I mean, when I look at all those technologies in the market, and when we sort of talk to customers about their challenges, right? One thing in my experience, what I have learned is that customers have a lot of day-to-day problems which they want to overcome, right? And those problems have now become very critical in their business. Some organizations are in pain because they don't have the right systems in place to sort of mitigate certain challenges and move forward. However, like what Asiri covered at the start of our discussion, the ability to invest in the long run becomes a problem, right? Now, there are so many other platforms in the market, right? So many tier one platforms in the market, which will come handy, which will come with all kinds of features and capabilities. But if you really think about the cost that comes along with it, right? And the amount of business that you have to make just to recover that cost over a period of time is exorbitant, right? And this is the truth. This is the reality in the market. Now, the beautiful thing about Odoo, in my experience, is that you can start small. You can start scaling it up as the business grows, right? So you can break it if you in any which way you want, and you can manage it by yourself, right? Clearly you need the suppliers and the partners to do a proper implementation and make sure that the system runs smoothly. But other than that, it is something that you can manage on your own, right? To a great extent, and also the fact that it has a large number of applications which you can immediately subscribe to. So what that means is that your technology ecosystem within your organization, it's going to have more sanity. It's going to be more clean, because you will not be inundated with so many other third-party applications and having to integrate them into whatever the platform that you have. So with that note, I want to invite again for the last time our audience to ask any questions. We have one more question, Randhika. Again, it's a more technical based one. The question is, does Odoo maintain multilingual and different taxes in different companies under the same organization?
Yes, it is.
How does that work?
The system is capable for multi-company option, as well as system can manage different taxes, right, with different tax calculations. And also it is automatically hit to the accounting module, and we can simply integrate those things.
All right, great. So I think we have come to the end of the session. So before we wrap up, I just want to ask Asiri and Randika to maybe say a few final words, and then we can close out for the day. Asiri, we can start with you.
Yes, thanks, Suresh, for inviting us, and we are looking forward to continue to work with you, and and answer any questions the audience may think of later on, especially from a Odoo perspective or any other aspect of technology. As Allion is being a technology company, had been in the business marketplace, and we are looking forward to continue to work with Whitespace as well, and I think this is a huge long journey for us, and there's a long runway to work together. Thank you again for organizing this. Really appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Randika?
Thank you, Irish, for inviting me for this great event, right? As I said earlier, I'm inviting you to join the Odoo community along with Allion and Whitespace. Thank you very much, Irish.
Thanks.
Awesome. And again, thank you, gentlemen, Asiri and Randika, for accepting our invitation. And we appreciate the fact that we spoke about this matter today. And this is just a start, guys. And we are going to continue with a series of discussions and events. And the next that we invite our partners and clients to look forward for is a more deep dive, a detailed discussion about Odoo from a more technology and a technical perspective. So with that, I want to wrap things up for today. And thank you very much for everybody who joined us from various parts of the world. And look forward to engaging with everyone. And if you want to reach out to us, please feel free. You can speak to Whitespace directly, or Allion, or either one of the companies. If you want to talk to us directly, drop us a note on info@whitespaceint.ca. That's our email address for all our customers and partners. We are very happy to engage with you. And with Allion, we are confident that we can make a difference in the market. We can make your business future ready, and we certainly can help you Uberize your business for the betterment of the long run. Thank you very much, and take care and stay